All right. Hey, Michaela, good evening. How are you? Is everything all right?
Good evening, teacher. Yes, thank you so much.
Great. That's great to know. So let's please resume what we were doing. All right. We have to finish practicing sorry, with the TOEFL today, and on Wednesday and Friday we're going to finish by getting to know the Cambridge test. All right. So to try to refresh what we were doing, I'm going to try to explain some things. And let's remember that the final presentation is going to be on Friday, right? We have one more oral presentation that's going to take place on Friday. So I don't know if you have any questions or comments before starting the class, Michaela. Let me know, please.
No, teacher. Thank you.
All right, so let's begin. Again, very few, let's say, reminders and things to refresh our memory. And the first thing, as I said already, the final oral presentation is going to take place, right, this Friday. It was supposed to be the 27th, right? But of course, I have to change this. And as I'm changing the date, I'm going to explain some details. So it is going to be, right, it's February the 3rd. Okay, good. So, the difference here, Nicola, is that this time you have to prepare something for 15 minutes, right? So you're going to be speaking for 15 minutes. Any topic that you want, that's also up to you. And you have to follow this structure, right? You have an introduction with 3 steps, body with 3 steps, and the conclusion with 3 steps. And if you analyze, this is very similar to what you do in this practice for the TOEFL, right? You have first 2 options. You choose one option, you explain a little bit about it, and then you support your ideas by giving examples and so on, right? So that's what you're going to do, but in 15 minutes. And remember, once again, very shortly, that these elements are going to be evaluated. Your pronunciation, vocabulary, conjugation, and structures. Here, you have to paraphrase, right, to be evaluated in this purpose. Organizing, that's using the structure that we saw before. Paraphrasing, that's the same, right? Using your own words as you're explaining the topic. And time management, remember, it's going to be 15 minutes and 30 seconds. And for 14 minutes and 30 seconds, that's the, let's say, range in which you're going to get the perfect score. Anything that is going to be more or less than that is going to be like penalized, and you're going to be losing some points over there. But that's it, okay? That's it in terms of, let's say, this presentation. Also remember that you have until tomorrow, let's say, to upload all the recordings. It means the recordings that you have from the previous class and the recordings you're going to have today with me, plus the 9 new words and definitions, right, that you have to upload until tomorrow. Why? Because the last unit is going to start on Wednesday, and you're going to have until Friday to upload those words, the recordings, and everything for that. Okay, so with that detail, I think we're done. I don't know if you have any questions now before starting one more time the practice for the TOEFL.
No, teacher. Thank you.
All right, so let's go there. Let's remember first a little bit. Remember that we are working with the TOEFL, and this is a 45 seconds, right, task in which you have to choose one of the options that you are given, and you have to defend that, let's say, choice, right? If you get to choose one of them, you have to give examples, you have to show facts, right? Good reasons to support your idea. Okay, so that's the main idea of working with the TOEFL. You know that in the introduction, sorry, you have 2 possibilities, right? The long one, do this only if you feel comfortable, is that you say your decision, right? I prefer to do this, and you mention the 2 reasons or benefits, right? So I prefer to do this because of this and that, right? That's the first option. And the second option is just saying, I prefer this because of the following reasons, right? So you don't mention anything. So you have to choose between the first one and the second one, okay? It depends on how much time you use. Remember, it's advisable not to use more than 10 seconds. Then in the next second, try to have to use or describe the next, well, actually the first benefit or the first reason. So you mention that benefit, you mention that reason, and you give an example, right? It's the same with the third actually step. That is the second reason, the second benefit, that you have to gain support by giving an example. And finally, this is just if you have the time, a short conclusion before finishing your recording, right? Only if you have these 5 seconds. If not, it's enough if you say, and that's it, or simply just stop as you finish the second reason, and that's going to be okay, right? So this is optional. So with that said, I believe that we kind of remember that. I'm going to open one more time this template so that you can be using it as you are recording some of the answers for the following practice. All right, so again, it's important that you have with you, again, your, well, something to take notes. It can be on the computer, it can be on a paper if you want, and your timer and something to record that I believe it's your computer only. So with that, we're going to start practicing once again, Michaela. Let me know, please, if you have everything ready to record your responses.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, good. So let's begin. Again, we're going to start with something kind of simple, something that we didn't do, and we're going to try to go to more complex questions. All right, so, okay, this is an interesting one because it's easy due to the fact that it's related to anybody's experience. Okay, that's why this is easy and you can explain with ease. Again, try to get good reasons and try to support those reasons with good examples. And again, it's a good idea to keep a balance. The introduction has to be fast, right? Very straightforward. I prefer this because of the following reasons, period, or due to the following motives, and you start with the second part, right? You give the reason, example, good reason, example, and that's it. So the question is, do you prefer to go bed earlier at night around 9 o'clock p.m. or do you like to stand up until 12 a.m.? Provide specific details to support your explanation. Right? This is very simple because you can give very personal reasons, right? You don't need to know anything about this. You can use facts if you want, but with personal examples here, it's great. All right, so let's start working. Remember, as we are, well, resuming this after 1 week, I'm going to give you first 1 minute, as I was doing at the beginning, to first write the ideas on a sheet of paper or on your computer. Okay, so let's do it, please. Okay, I'm going to actually put this over here and this one here. So the timer is over here. So they are going to be next to one another so that you can see the timer and also the question. That one more time where the question is. I don't see the question over here. I lost it. Do you remember what number it was, Michaela?
No, sorry, teacher.
Okay, don't worry, it's here. Yes, I don't know why I went just down. Okay, so it's this one. So you have there, you can read the question. I'm going to read it one more time. Do you prefer to go bed earlier at night around 9 p.m. or do you like to stay up until 12 a.m.? Provide specific details to support your explanation. Okay, so you have please 1 minute to try to organize your ideas. And again, try to organize your ideas, very few words for the introduction, some words for the first reason, for the second, and the conclusion. Let's do it, please. 1 minute to organize that.
Okay.
Okay, it's been a little bit more than 1 minute, but let's stop there. Now I'm going to read it once again, and you're going to have, actually I'm going to use the timer, but you know that you have 45 seconds to record. You have to stop at the 45, or actually 45th second, and then you have to upload it. Remember, this is part of the third unit. Okay, so you have to
Okay.
upload it there in the third week in class activities. All right.
Okay.
So one more time the question. It says, do you prefer to go bed earlier at night around 9 o'clock p.m. or do you like to stay up until 12 a.m.? And you have to give good reasons for that. So again, you have to turn off the microphone, please, and you're going to record that. You upload it, and I'm going to give you my feedback after I listen to the recording. Okay, so let's do it, please.
Okay. Teacher, can you check my file, please?
Of course, let me take a look at that and we can see if it's there. I imagine that it's here, but let's take a look at it. And no, sorry, it must be here. And yes, I see 3 attachments. So I imagine that the last one is related to this one. So let's take a listen and we're going to see how it went. This is the one. Okay, so once again, I'm going to try to pay attention to mainly, well, some details, but mainly the structure. That's the most important thing. But also, of course, if I listen to some details, I'm going to let you know. But let's play. Sorry, I'm going to share once again the sound of my computer. Okay, here we go.
Okay, I would like to go to bed early, but I tend to sleep late for the following reasons.
Okay, good. That's 8 seconds. I think that's a good way, right? A good start. And good. Again, anything less than 10 seconds, it's a good introduction.
I really love to read at night because in my house, in my home, it's much quieter, and the times.
There is going to be like quieter, right? It's quieter. And actually, let me take a look at, let's remember that actually this is in general, right? Let me just check this once again. It was 19, if I'm not wrong. Okay, yes, it's over here. Okay, it's here. Right, so to go to bed earlier, so in general you can talk about any activities there, right? So let me take a listen at the beginning once again.
Okay, I would like to go to bed early, but I tend to sleep late for the following reasons. I really love to read at night because
Great. I think it's a great start. Again, you're organizing the beginning your own way, and it's great, right? An activity that you like to do at night.
in my house, in my home, it's much quieter,
Much quieter.
and the times usually goes quickly. Sometimes I finish a book like
Okay, here let's analyze the verb.
the times usually goes quickly.
Okay, and in that part, when you say the times usually go quickly, right? What do you mean when you say that?
Um, well, the idea is that I would like to go to the bed early, but I love to read books, and when I notice, it's like 4 a.m. or something like that.
Okay, all right. So it's like you lose the track of time. Okay, that's something that you can say. Okay, you lose the track of time. Or instead of goes in time, it's better if you say only time, not plural. And instead of goes, if you say pass. You can say, and the time passes right quickly, you can say, right? The
Okay.
time passes quickly. Or even you can say that idea, I usually lose the track of time, right? It means that you were not paying attention to time, so it went by very, very fast, or it passed, as I was saying. Okay, so good. It's good. Just you can try to change that a little bit.
Sometimes I finish a book like at 4 a.m. and I never notice.
Good. I never noticed. Yes, because I never noticed it, or I never noticed that. But in general, I think it's very well structured.
I also like to prepare or advance in my work, especially because I know in the HQ is a day actually, so I tend to send emails or advance in some projects to be ready for the next day.
Okay, good. Sorry. I think it's good. All right. We used more time because also I didn't stop, right? But we used more than 45 seconds. It is not bad, but remember, we have to try to do it until the second 45 because that's not going to be possible, right, in the TOEFL, or at least
Okay.
just for this practice, right? And what is going to happen is that you're going to be cut, okay? You're going to be cut up in the middle of a word. And of course, if an examiner listens to that, that's going to be punctuated as something negative, right? So it's better to see the timer. If you see that you're getting closer to 45, at least finish with that phrase, right? Say something else and stop, right? Because if it's noticeable that you were cut and it's in the middle of a word or something like that, because you don't notice when you use more time, then that's going to be worse, right? So in general, I think it's pretty good. We're just going to try to use less time for the last part, but it's great. Let's keep practicing, okay? That's what we're going to be doing today, practicing and practicing. So the next one is going to be not that complex, but we're going to try to talk about specific topics, all right? Um, okay. Okay, yes, this it's kind of weird, but you can mention something more specific here because the topic is very specific. Okay, having a pool in your house. Okay, again, weird, but it helps giving more specific ideas. So it says some people believe that it is necessary to have a pool when purchasing a house. However, others prefer not to buy homes with pools. Which view do you support? Give specific details to support your response. Okay, very simple, right? To have or not to have a pool when you buy a house. That's of course something again kind of simple, but as the idea is reduced to having a pool in a house, you have to give very specific examples. All right, so let's do it, please. This time we're going to have only 30 seconds and we're going to be reducing that until we only have 15, all right, so that you are ready for the test in a certain way. So let's do it, please. Michaela, again, this changes every time I do that, but you know the question. I'm going to try to write in the number because I lost it again. But you know, is about buying a I think is up here. Yes, a house, right, that has a pool or not. Okay, here it is. There you go. So let's please have 30 seconds, write your ideas, and then we record. Let's do it, please. Okay, so it's 30 seconds, right? That's less. Let's remember that the less time we have, the more precise we have to be. Remember that introduction needs 1 word or 2 words maximum. The development is going to need at least 4 words, right? But that's the maximum also you can get. The reason plus a word or a couple of words for the example you're going to give. The reason plus again an example that you're going to give, but just words to remember what you have to say. And that's it, right? That's everything you need to write. If you get to have more time to write more, do it. But because of the time they give you, usually that's the thing you're going to be able to do. All right, so let's do it please one more time, Michaela. Let's record this response. I'm going to read one more time the question and then we record. Some people believe that it is necessary to have a pool when purchasing a home or a house. However, others prefer not to buy homes with pools. Which view do you support? Give us specific details to support your response. All right, so let's do it, please. One more time, we have 45 seconds. Remember, try to stop before the second 45, and then you upload it and you let me know. So let's do it, please.
Okay, teacher, can you check, please?
Yes, let's take a look at that. And again, we do the same once again to keep practicing. That it's the most important thing to do today. And let's refresh. Actually, it's here. It's already here. This has to be the one. So once again, let's listen. I'm going to listen for some details and we keep practicing. We're going to try to increase again the level of knowledge that we need related to those questions to see how we manage that information. Right? So let's listen to this.
Okay. Personally, I think it's not necessary to have a pool at home because of the following reason.
Okay, good. Now, once again, right, it's before the 10 seconds, and that's great, right? It doesn't matter. Again, you can add words to embellish, to show, right, some extra things, and even to make it more complex, and that's perfect. And as long as it's less than 10 seconds, I think we're doing good.
For me, it's more necessary to live close to my work, for example. Well, in the center of the city, there are more like buildings than house with poles.
Okay, good. And in that one, as you are giving a general example, instead of house, it's going to be like in plural, right? So there are more buildings, you can say, than houses with poles, right?
Okay, okay.
Good. Uh-huh. And great. Yes, you are putting emphasis on the idea that for you, right, it's more important, more necessary, right, to live closer to your office than to have a pool, right? I think it's good.
Um, Also, I think the price of maintain something like a pool
And remember, anytime you say a preposition of, you need a gerund, right? So it's going to be the price of maintaining or the price to maintain, right? So it's going to be infinitive or gerund with ing.
is very high, and well, I am a person more practical.
Good. And then remember, when you use, let's say, an adjective, it has to be before the noun, right? So it's going to be, I'm a more practical person, right? Instead of
Okay.
person more practical, a more practical person, it sounds more natural.
I think it's not necessary to have a pool in a house.
Okay, good. I think it's good. Again, you mentioned two interesting details that are relevant for this purpose. And actually, in the first part, it's an example in the form of a fact, right? Because you're saying that in the city you can find, right, buildings that don't have pools than houses that have, right? So I think again that's interesting, and you're going to the point, and that's positive. All right. So again, it's great. Now we're going to increase the level, right, of difficulty a little bit by giving some, let's say, interesting topics to talk about. So first, let me actually do this because if not, I'm going to lose it again. And it was over here. Okay, good. So we worked on that. Now, this is also, actually, we're going to work on this. Okay. And why? Because you need to give a little bit something more complex and more specific, and you need even some special vocabulary. You don't need to know the vocabulary for this specific area, but you need to try something similar, right? Again, it's not hard, but it's a little bit more specific. So it says, some believe, oh, sorry, yes, some believe that people who sell illegal drugs should be jailed, whereas others think that these drug dealers should not be imprisoned. What do you think? Include some examples and details to support your answer. Right? Again, in a certain way can be easy, but try to use more specific examples to defend or to support this idea. All right, so we're going to be reducing more and more. This time, please, well, the maximum is going to be 15 seconds, but this time we're going to have 20 seconds. All right, so 20 seconds, please, to write ideas, to write words that you're going to use to support this. Remember, only say your reasons, your answer, sorry, two good reasons, and support those two good reasons with short examples or short facts. So let's do it, please, Michaela. 20 seconds to prepare the answer for this one. Okay, that's it, 20 seconds. Now I'm going to read it once again. It's some believe that people who sell illegal drugs should be jailed, whereas others think that these drug dealers should not be imprisoned. What do you think? Include some examples and details to support your answer. Right again, the same idea, a little bit more specific this time. Let's have the 45 seconds once again, please. Record it and let me know when I can check your file. Let's do it,
Okay.
please.
Okay, teacher. I already lost the track of the time, so I could without conclusion.
Let's see how it went. You used more time, are you telling me, Michaela?
No, just the 45 seconds, but without a conclusion.
Okay, no, it's okay, right? Remember, the conclusion is kind of optional. Perhaps if it feels right, and again, we're practicing because of that, but if it feels that the first reason gained all the attention and you mentioned another reason, but the development of the second reason was not complete, perhaps that's going to be negative, right? But again, as we're practicing, you're going to realize how much time you're going to give to those reasons. Okay, but let's listen. Let's see how noticeable it was to well, to actually have some advice for that. Okay, so first let's listen to see that detail. Good.
Okay, I think they have to be hailed, yeah, because of the
Okay,
following
good.
reason.
Again, right? For you, I think the introduction is now automatic, and that's good. Again, the idea of having a template is to have automatic responses in a certain way. Because even though, of course, that's not going to work in a usual conversation, in tests, that's very important, right? Because you're going to be organized and you're not going to get lost, right? And you are always going to know how to start, and that's always very important, right? So good. And yes, the just to be sure, right? You are unsure about that one is with J, right? So jailed. Let's repeat that word, please.
Jailed. Jailed?
J. Jailed, exactly, with the T at the end, right? Jailed. Good.
Jailed. Okay. I have seen the damage it can do to the
Good,
people,
great. Even you're starting with something that it's like personal experience and example, and that's great.
especially young students, because this can obstruct their development as persons. And
Okay, good.
also,
So the first reason you're talking about is the impact, right, on young students or young people in general, right, and how it can obstruct, limit, right, or affect in a negative way their lives, right? So I believe it's good. So perhaps in this way, you are doing two things at the same time. You are giving the reason in the form of an example directly, right? And I believe it's not bad, right? Whenever you have the time to divide those in different categories, right? So first the reason and then the example, do it. Perhaps it's going to be better. But this one I think also works very well. Okay, so it's clear. Let's listen to the next one.
it generate like a dangerous place for the neighbors, bringing a dangerous person, dangerous
Okay,
people.
and that one, right? That's you told me that one. This is good, but this feels just like the reason that you're giving, right? But you didn't have the time, perhaps, as you said, right, to develop something more besides that, right? The idea of dangerous people.
Mhm.
So perhaps you can try also in this type. Again, there are not incorrect answers because it's you, right? It's you giving your ideas about that question, right? And remember, as you're talking about the people, right, that sell drugs, illegal drugs, you can also try to focus or give ideas related to them, right? You can consider them as dangerous people in general. That shouldn't be. Perhaps in the last part you could have said that, right? That shouldn't be there, right? Living a normal life in society because they are going to keep doing that activity, right? And they deserve to get a punishment as part of what they did, right? So the first thing you can say is that perhaps it's important to jail them, right? To imprison them, because that's the way in which they are going to be punished, and they are going to perhaps, I don't know if change, but at least feel that what they did was, of course, incorrect, right? If you don't jail them, if you don't imprison them, that's of course not going to be something positive. I don't know what kind of punishment you can give them, but you can say that's the type that they deserve, right? And in the last one, let's try to develop now. Well, what did you want to extend or try to expand now, Michaela? How can you expand to the second reason that you were given?
Uh, well, I am not sure because of the place could be dangerous for the neighborhoods. Because usually dangerous people is around cities that sell uh, illegal drugs.
Okay, yes, that is correct. Drugs, right? Yes, correct. If you have people selling illegal drugs right near your neighborhood, of course that's going to attract people wanting to buy those drugs. And usually again that creates an ambience, right, or a place that it's dangerous. Because a lot of people that consume that, of course not all people, but a lot of them are always involved in illicit or illegal activities as well, right? And that's of course dangerous for the people in that neighborhood. Okay, so good. You can develop that idea in that way, right? You can say they are dangerous people that don't have to be around, because if they are still around selling drugs or illegal drugs, that's going to create, right? You can talk about an ambience or an environment, a dangerous environment in which children in general or people, right, of that neighborhood are not safe, right? Because of that interaction between that person and the people buying those drugs, right? So once again, those are ideas, but try to always get to that point. And it's not bad what you did, but if you realize you only repeated the reason without giving a specific example, so that's the only thing that was missing here. All right, but let's keep practicing. Again, the idea is practicing a lot. We don't have the time to practice here, but this is what you can do when you have your own time to do it by yourself. So let's do it. And we're going to try to go a little bit deeper. And once again, okay, this one, for example, all right? I don't know for the vocabulary you know about this, but once again, we need something specific. And as I told you, right, sometimes we don't know the words, but we can give something general. It says, okay, some prefer a diet with meat products as a main source of protein. However, others prefer to eat vegetarian foods without any meat. Which type of diet do you prefer? Give some specific details to support your response, right? So once again, you can do it in a general way, but that feels connected to this. Just be careful if it's too general and you don't answer to this question, that's also going to be negative, right? So if you make it general, try to point to these specific words that they are mentioning so that the connection seems to be clear. And if you're able to be specific, that's even better, right? So once again, important things that you have to mention here is meat products, right? The protein as a source that it's good and that we need, or to be vegetarian, right? And of course, to eat something that only vegetarians eat. So let's have, once again, we're going to have 20 seconds to prepare and the usual time to record. Okay, so let's please prepare the answer. I'm going to mark this once again. So let's do it. 20 seconds to prepare, please. Okay, so we are there. Now, once again, I'm going to read it one more time. It says, some prefer a diet with meat products as a main source of protein. However, others prefer to eat vegetarian foods without any meat. Which type of diet do you prefer? Give some specific details to support your response. All right, so once again, please, we have 45 seconds. Let's try to give a balance to both reasons. Mention the reason very briefly so that you have the time to give more explanation about it or to give a longer example. Okay, so let's do it. Please let me know when you're ready or when you have the file to check.
Okay, teacher, can you check this?
Yes, let's take a look at that. Let's do the same. And let's see again the details that we can improve. So here we are, and there it is. Okay, let's see how it went. And again, let's take a look at those details.
I prefer the diet with meat because of this. I already tried
Okay,
to.
good again. All right, I think we're good with the introduction. You can, of course, vary with many other words, right? You don't need to say every time as you're doing here, right? That's why it's good. Because of the following reasons. Remember that you can say also due to the following motives or because of this, right? And you can explain in that way. So it's good. The introduction is ready. You can put variations that you want there. The idea is that the template and the sorry and the structure is over there.
to the diet with meat, but it's very difficult because of the taste. I understand that we can like prepare to make to have more taste, but it's expensive, and this is also a factor that is important to me. The price. Also, the time to prepare this kind of food is a lot, and there are no like many options in the street, and this is also very important to me.
Okay, good. There you go. Right, just a couple of extra seconds. But in general, again, it's good. You were talking the first reason. Let me verify that I got two more reasons. One that was mentioned at the end of the beginning, and the last one, well, it was related to the price and to how available that's for you, right? They don't sell that on the streets, and it's more perhaps hard or it's harder to get. But let's listen to the first reason one more time.
To the diet with meat, but it's very difficult because of the taste.
Okay, so when you say that, it's not clear to me. You say right that you prefer meat products, right, based on the protein that they can give you. Even you're mentioning that, but then you're mentioning about the taste or how hard they are to prepare. What are you specifically talking about at the beginning?
Okay. Mm, when I tried um, the diet without meat, um, it's not good. It's like it doesn't have a taste. So I really don't like. But I understand that there are some. I don't know the word, but some ingredients to make this much better, but it's expensive. So to me, it's not practical. So I prefer the normal food.
Okay, all right. Okay, good. So I get that perfectly. I think that that's good. I agree with you on that one. So let me just see then the connection. I think we can make it better.
With meat, because of this. I already tried to do the diet with meat, but it's very.
Right? So you there I listen the following. I tried the diet with meat, right? So is that what you're saying there, or is it without meat?
Without meat, sorry.
Without, right? So yes, that's why it's a little bit strange because you said at the beginning that you want meat products, but here you say with meat, and it's something that you don't like. Right?
Yeah.
That's why it felt a little bit confusing. So yes, if you say that, then without meat, it makes sense, right? So good. I tried that without meat, and it's something that I didn't like because of the taste, right? You can say it was hard for me to eat that because of the taste. And yes, so it's good. Then you're mentioning the extra ingredients that you need to use to make it more appealing, to make it more like tasty, right? But it's expensive, and then price is also something well, negative for that purpose, right? And finally, you mentioned that it's not easy to find, right, even in the streets or around some restaurants that buy or that sell, in this case, right, this type of well, food, vegetarian food. and that's another reason, right? So good. I believe it's good. Just that that beginning was a little bit confusing because of the word with, but I think in general it's good, right? Good. We are good. We have time for just one more. Okay, that's what we're going to do. One more to finish today. And with that, we're finishing also the practice in general with the TOEFL. That again, it's something that actually just practicing and practicing, but this is the way in which you have to do it. You have to try to find these sources. You have these on the platform, so you have to do, you can do it actually for yourself. And but let's practice one more with me, and then you're going to do it alone to see how it goes. So let's see one that is going to be again kind of challenging. So let's see, actually, let's put it like this to, okay, to have it ready. Now, okay, okay, this one. Again, it's not that specific, but it can be interesting how you can support your ideas. Okay, remember, you don't need to even show your real position, right? Your real answer, just something that seems easy to support. Okay, that's what you have to do. Not your real answer, something real or easy to support. So people who have terminal, painful diseases should be allowed to ask doctors to end their lives. Do you think that it is a good idea to allow people to do this? Support your points with specific examples and details. All right. So once again, to finish this, please, we are only going to have 15 seconds. That's usually the time we have for preparing. 15 seconds to prepare, and then we record. Okay, so let's use please these 15 seconds to write some ideas. Okay, so there you go. Now I'm going to read it again. It says people who have terminal painful diseases should be allowed to ask doctors to end their lives. Do you think that it is a good idea to allow people to do this? Support your points with specific examples and details. All right, so please, once again, let's have 45 seconds. And with that recording, we finish, Michaela. Let's do it, please.
Okay. Teacher, can you check, please?
Yes, let's take a look at that. And we finish with that last one. Michaela, thanks again. Again, today was mainly practicing this because that's what we had to do with the TOEFL. And on Wednesday, we finish with the part, well, it's going to be Wednesday and Friday. We finish with the last part that it's related to Cambridge. But let's listen to this so that we can finish today.
It's a big problematic idea, but I think that should be allowed.
Okay,
We don't
good. Even you're giving a short like comment at the beginning, and it's good. It's good, right? It's a little bit problematic, but I think it's a good idea, right? So it should be allowed. Okay.
have the capacity to understand the pain that a person could have with a terminal disease, for example. We don't have the right to determine
Good.
uh,
And in this one, it's going to be instead of the word to determine, only determine or determine. Okay, so we
Okay.
don't have the capacity or the ability to determine, right, or to perhaps, right, make the decision for the other person.
this situation. And also, I think is em- empathic to allow a person
Good.
to
In that one also, it's better if you say that it is empathetic. Okay, it's empathetic to
Empathy.
the. Uh-huh.
pass away in their own terms, for example, with their family or with um, a uh, a good
Okay, there
situation.
you go. Good. Again, right? So again, just a few seconds, right? A few extra seconds, but that's again something we're going to be or you're going to be working with practice to try to make it even closer and closer. And little by little, you're going to see it is going to be like automatic that you're going to finish at the second 43 and maximum second 44. Okay, that should be the second that you have to aim, because if you always work with second 45, you're always going to have one more second or two more seconds. So it's always better if you get used to finishing, all right, at second 43. That's a recommendation. So that if you use 1 or 2 extra seconds, that as you can see, we always use 1 or 2 extra seconds, you're going to finish at 45, right? So that's the only thing. In general, again, it's good. Little by little, again, try to make more or to put more emphasis on the reasons. So first you can say, right, first, because we cannot decide, right, on behalf of them. You can say that. That's the first reason. Then you give an example, right? And second, because we have to be empathetic, right? So again, it's good, but it's like developing one big idea, and you can try to use these transitional words to make clear, very, very clear, what's the first reason with a lot of emphasis, then the example, and the second reason with a lot of emphasis with the example, and then you finish. Okay, that's my only recommendation to finish now, Mikael. I don't know if you have questions before finishing today.
No, teacher, thank you.
Okay, no, you're very welcome. As always, please, I'm going to send today's survey that you have to be able to see it now. And that's it. I'll see you on Wednesday. Remember, you have until tomorrow to finish everything related to these units. I mean, the 90 words plus the definitions and the examples. And Wednesday and Friday, we have to finish everything. So try to have your presentation ready as well to finish everything this week. Okay, that's it. Have a good night and see you on Wednesday, Mika.
Thank you, teacher. See you on Wednesday.
Bye bye.